I think we are live. I never know these things. Okay. Hi, everyone. My name is Robert Langdon. Welcome to Emerge Gallery here in Saugerties, New York. Today we are looking at the show Terrain, which is a collection of landscapes, seascapes, and cityscapes. I was actually just talking to one of our artists about some of the most difficult decisions that I have. And she just experienced it as well about being a juror and a curator. I receive a lot of really wonderful work. In this particular instance, I received a lot of fantastic, mostly traditional artwork that, I would love to have normally welcomed into the gallery, but I wanted to have a nice selection of artwork. Oh, sorry about that, folks. So I could have certainly filled the show up with some traditional, really gorgeous landscapes, but I wanted to, like most of my shows, bring in a nice variety of work, different ways that artists are working with the theme in both traditional ways and non-traditional ways. I try to bring in all different styles and mediums, as long as they all work together. And, it should take you through a nice journey as you go through the exhibit. So what we're going to do today is I'm going to present all of the works in the show one by one. I'm going to give most of the time to the artists who are joining us today to talk about their own work, but I certainly will be presenting each piece in the show. The work is here at the gallery and also online on artsy.net, where all of the shows from probably the last 3 years have been archived. So, if you wanted to spend a little time looking at some good art, head over there. It's Emerge Gallery NY. So this, I wanted to show you a little bit of it, show you the gallery a little bit. In the window, you can see the suspended piece here, this, and then the one on the wall. These are by Hazel Sherburne, who is the proprietor over at Dancing Tulip here in Saugerties. I'm really, really pleased to exhibit these as part of Terrain. Hazel's a wonderful artist, and she recently has gotten back to her love of creating and has been creating some new work. So I'm so pleased to have the opportunity to exhibit her work. Also in the window, we have some sculptures by artist Robert Troxel. As I was saying, I also do some online work. And yesterday, an online exclusive called Abstracted opened on Artsy. So that's an online exclusive show. So these sculptures here are sort of part of the Abstracted show. All right, but we're here for landscapes today. So seascapes and cityscapes, as it says. So I'm just going to give you a quick little run through the gallery, a little visual here, so you can see how each piece works with the next. You'll see a lot of different elements in common. This is one of my favorite pieces of my job, is hanging the show. I put that first piece down and then, just surround myself with the art and have one piece of art connect with the next. And then it's sort of, if it's done right, sort of tells a little bit of a story. So you'll see we just passed the landscapes. I sort of pulled all the seascapes together over here. And I think next time I'm going to call them waterscapes, not necessarily just seascapes. And then that leads us into the cityscapes. All right, we have a few pedestal pieces as well. So that is the show at the gallery. So let's have a look one by one at the pieces. So I'm going to share with you what I am looking at. First one, hold on. No. And just bear me with all of the technical aspects of all of this. Okay. As I try to find where we are. Okay, great. All right. So I'm going to share a screen with you, and then we'll be looking at the artsy site. This is the Emerge Gallery. As I said, it's on artsy.net. You'll see a grouping of the shows that I currently have. This is the abstracted show that just opened. We've got the terrain. This is a wonderful, I'm so excited about this show. This is coming up next month. It's a solo show by Veronica Lawler, who has been spending some time in the area exploring the brickyards in Hudson Valley, most specifically over in Langdon and Saugerties. And she's done some on-site sketches and then abstracted them out with acrylics and collage. So she also did the same with the deconstruction of the Kosciuszko Bridge a few years ago that connects Brooklyn and Queens. So I'm going to have in the gallery, I'm having an exhibit of that work with some of the sketches as well, which are just gorgeous. We're going to have a lecture around that, talking about the brickyards. And it's really a way to celebrate a lot of the local history in a visual way. So that's coming up in July. I also have a online exclusive, the Crow Show. These are small crow paintings by wonderful artist in New Jersey, Jada Fabrizio. And then finally, I have another online show by a fantastic young artist in Kingston named Ingrid Nichter, who uses all mixed media work. So when you have a chance, please have a look at that. But let's go over to the terrain show. So all you need to do is click on the show, and then you have each piece is all lined up for you to take a look at. Everything is listed in alphabetical order. Okay, our first piece is by an artist in New Jersey named Wayne Alfano. This is Partition Street, right here in Saugerties, New York. And this is an oil on panel. I have two pieces by Mark Allen. Mark is an artist living in, Mark lives in Tivoli. This is called Lady in Waiting. This is pen and ink on paper. The second piece is called Homeland. This is pen and ink as well. And they're both 31 by 25. I have two pieces by Debbie Auer Breitbart. Debbie is a newish artist here in Saugerties. She works with a lot of different mediums. This particular one is watercolor, and this is called Pastel Skies. The second piece is called Sunny Day. These are small pieces. They are 5 by 10. Loel Barr, are you here?
I'm here.
You are. Okay, hold on. Let me find you.
I'm here, sort of. Didn't know I was going to be the first one.
I hear you. I hear you. Let's see. Oh, here you are. Great. All right, let me pull you up. Really pleased to have Loel Barr here. Loel is a fantastic artist here in Saugerties. I've exhibited a number of Loel's works in the past. We also did a solo show for Loel back in 2018, was it, Loel?
I think it was 18, yeah.
Yeah. This is a really wonderful piece that I saw her post this online. It's a collage, and I thought it fit perfectly in with the as a cityscape. I was really glad to see Loel get back into creating collage again. So Loel, I'm going to turn it over to you and tell us a little bit about this piece here, which this is called City Summer. And it's a small one, 11 by 11.
Yeah. Well, right. That's big for me. But
yeah, that's true.
I always end up heading back to collage. It's like, it's just there. And if I'm not inspired to do a painting, I just start picking up pieces of paper. And this was sort of a challenge. I was challenged to do something very abstract and bright. And you who know my work know that it tends to be kind of dark. So, so it was really fun. I tore up a lot of art news magazines, which had really vivid colors. And it wasn't meant to be a city, but that's just kind of what happened. So not a whole lot to say about it, but it was fun to work with bright colors, and I may do more of that.
A little bit of a happy accident. I do know your work as a little darker, which is always what I'm drawn to.
Yeah, me too.
So I was a little surprised to see a bit of sunshine.
I really had to fight not to start making it dark. I resisted the impulse.
Well, I personally think you should do some more of this. It's a fun piece, it's very bright, and I think it really elevates my mood, at least when I look at it.
Yeah, well, thank you. I guess that's the encouragement I need to keep doing it.
Yep, it sort of reminded me a little bit of San Francisco. I don't know why, but it sort of brought me back there. So
I can see that.
Yeah. All right, great to see you, Loel.
Okay, thank you, Robert.
We'll see you again. Yeah, you got it. Harriet Foreman Barrett. I don't think Harriet's here. Harriet lives in New Paltz. This is called Landscape Breeze. It's oil on canvas. And it is 24 by 24. Harriet has a very spiritual kind of bent to her work. Christina Batchley, this is called Blue Dorgang. I'm probably completely mispronouncing that. This is, Christina lives in Kingston. This is gold leaf and oil paint on reclaimed wood. Second piece, I've been getting lots and lots of comments about this. Would you think this was a painting or something else? It's actually a photograph. This is by Anna Bergen. Anna lives here in Saugerties. She hasn't really been showing around all that much. We've been talking with her for a while, encouraging her to submit some work, and I'm really, really glad that she did because this piece is just wonderful. It is called Cliff by the Sea. It's photography, 16 by 20, and this piece is a reflection in the water. That's what you're looking at. Ed Berkes is a wonderful artist living in Woodstock, New York. Ed does all different kinds of work. He does a lot of abstract. He's been, I know he's been taking an abstract landscape class at the Woodstock School of Art by Don Elder, I think, is running it. I've heard so many wonderful things about that class. I'm not an artist myself, but it sort of makes me want to take the class and just see what it's all about. I'm a big advocate for the School of Art. If you're looking for a little bit of, inspiration and different ways of applying technique, check them out. They've got some fantastic classes going on there. Natalie Baburka is a wonderful artist that lives in, Natalie's in Greenville. This is called What Lies Beneath. It's mixed media. She also, hold on one second. Let me see if I have something about this here. Yeah, it was inspired by the thrashing waves in coastal rocky area in Maine. So this is What Lies Beneath. And then the second piece is called You Crack Me Up. It's all mixed media, and both of them are on canvas. Speaking of master techniques, I'm really pleased to welcome Regina Quinn. Regina is a wonderful, wonderful encaustic artist. Every time I see something by her, I'm just amazed at what she can do. This piece in particular is just stunning. And almost everyone that walks in makes a comment about it. Especially with encaustic, the images really don't do justice to the textural pieces. But I'm really, really pleased to have Regina here to talk about these two pieces. So let me bring it up. All right. Hi, Regina.
Thank
welcome.
you. Hi, Robert. Such a pleasure to be exhibiting with you again. I was looking at the history of this piece because sometimes I have a vision of what I want to create. It's never a specific location. I don't do landscapes per se, but it's an impression of an experience in the natural world. And so maybe it's the light at dawn, or the way things go into like a kind of mystery at dusk. So in this piece, it was a kind of a rocky road. I started it today. I was looking back at my photographs because I try to document my process. I went back, I think, as far as 2014, and some of the roots of that painting, of this piece, were present in 2014. I put it aside. I wasn't happy with it. I took it back out. I did a little bit more. And it's gone through so many different iterations. And then at a certain point, it started to come together. And because I've lived in the northern mountains for much of my life, there's something that happens as autumn approaches, and the way that the mist rises from bodies of water is always so intriguing to me. So this piece, even though it may have started as like more of a landscape type piece, it evolved into this piece that's autumn mist. And I think the beautiful thing with working with encaustics is, as you build layers, it becomes like a sculpture. So this piece in particular is quite undulating. There are sections that are flat, but at the bottom you can see all this rippling, and so I try at a certain point, I try to work with that. So I think each piece really is kind of a dance, and sometimes it's a prolonged and slow dance, as in this piece.
There are so many layers in this work. I wanted to bring you, I don't know if you'll be able to see it. As I said, it just, the images don't do it justice. And for those who don't know, encaustic is a type of wax. And it's, yeah, I mean, Regina, you have different layers in here where you put, different the pigments and different elements, and it just sort of builds on top of each other to create a really incredible dimension. And then there's a second piece as well that I'm going to bring up. Gina's. The second piece is, this one is called Stillness Before the Storm.
Stillness Before the Storm, that's right. So after I had a rather large solo exhibition in Cooperstown last fall, and as I brought my 90 paintings back home to our tiny house, I still wanted to paint, and yet we don't really have room. So I got all of these little like 5x7, 6x6 panels, and I thought I'll just experiment a little bit with these, work out some concepts. So some of them are kind of more like sketches, but this one again started to take its own direction. I was in a show that was all about storms, and I thought storms are exciting. I love to paint storms, but it's really like those moments as you are approaching a storm or as a storm resolves itself that I find, most interesting to capture visually. So that's what this piece is, just a sense of that stillness before something erupts. So it has like these oranges and these kind of simmering colors that are covered by these neutral and pale colors. So you have a sense that something is shifting. Maybe something is not quite right. Something is about to happen. So that's what I was aiming for in this piece.
And it seems like he used a lot more scratching techniques in this, which really reveals,
Yes.
some different layers, which is really wonderful. Just want to throw out there the manufacturers of encaustic is out here in Kingston, R&F. So if you ever wanted to explore using encaustics, I would certainly recommend taking some of their classes. They also have a studio that you can work in, since encaustic can be really toxic and you need a really
Ventilation. Yeah, good ventilation.
Sometimes I just forget the words.
Me too.
Yeah.
It's easier when somebody else is talking, you can think of the word.
Exactly. Regina, it's always wonderful to have you here.
Thank you.
Thank you again. These pieces are stunning. I'm so proud to exhibit them.
Thank you so much, Robert.
You got it. All right. Oh, thanks, Mary. Thank you. Okay, the next piece, there's two little pieces by V and Borchet. This one is called Surfs Up. The second one is called Sea Horizon. These are both two small acrylic canvas. They're both 4x4. And Vian lives in Maryland. She's had a handful of pieces in shows before. I've got two pieces by Barbara Bravo. Barbara's a wonderful artist here in Saugerties. She's she's a potter, but she's been really exploring collage these days, which makes perfect sense because the way that she layers the collage and is sort of in the way that she makes her ceramics as well. So this one is called Summer in the Valley. The second is called Maine. And I just want to throw a little shout out to Barbara. She organizes the Saugerties Artist Studio Tour, which happens every August. It's a huge effort, and she's been doing it for over 25 years now. So bravo to Barbara Bravo, or Brava. Yeah, come on out and see the studio tour. It's probably the one of the best in the area. Hi, how are you? Is that yours? Great. All right. Thank you. I thought maybe you might come in. Excellent. Enjoy. Okay. Freda Brennan. Freda's a new artist for the gallery. Freda lives in New Paltz. This piece is called April Landscape. It's pastel on paper. The second piece is called Landscape Collage. It's not coming up. Okay. This one is 20 by 15. I have two pieces by Celine Cardwell. I know Celine as a collage artist, but these are photographs. This is the kind of photograph that I'm always looking to take when I'm walking around, and she did this one perfectly. Second one is called Fresh Perspective. Take care, man. Good to see you. Sorry, I'm doing double duty. McWillie Chambers, this is another artist that is new to the gallery. McWillie lives over in Catskill. This is called Man on the Beach with Blanket. It's a woodcut, and there are different versions available as well. The second piece by McWillie is called Sunset Swim. Every once in a while I try to bring some nudes in. This is one of them. And I'm, one of these days, maybe I'll do a nude show. Brendan Cohan. Brendan is a artist here in Saugerties as well. I've been, I think this is maybe the second show that Brendan has been in. The first was a virtual, the Of a Feather show. So I'm really pleased to have a piece here actually at the gallery. This is called Lower Manhattan. It's acrylic on canvas and it's 10 by 20.
I'm actually here.
Oh, you are, Brendan. I'm sorry. Hold on. I didn't see you. I'm sorry about that.
No, no problem.
Love to hear you. Ooh. Oh, there you are. Great. I'm so sorry, Brendan.
It's okay.
And let me bring the piece up again. Well, there's two pieces actually. So we've got Lower Manhattan. You want to talk about this one first?
Yeah, that was just from a photo that I took in New York, just driving by really quick. And then I took a section of that photo and did a digital piece and then translated into this acrylic piece. But it was fun, a little bit of a challenge, but it reminded me of the old cityscapes that you used to see in your friend's parents' home. And I just wanted to update the palette a bit.
Yeah, the palette's wonderful.
But basic same idea.
Yeah.
As those. So it was fun. I liked it.
We're different landscape now, or different you know, cityscape now that we're seeing than the original.
Yeah, it is. But they had it had distorted color from it being so far in the distance, and I just blew that up and did a digital version of that blow up, and then translated into this piece. But it was a lot of it was very general, so a lot of those shapes and a lot of the composition is made up. So that was the fun part. And
then all four sides are painted as well.
Yeah, I did. I took the palette and did like a pattern of it on the sides.
And then the second piece you have is a little more local. It is Route 32, I think it is. Is that right?
Yep,
Yeah.
That's right down the street from where I live, looking towards Quarryville, up on Route 32 at the dip. So I would walk during the day. I would walk out there and set my canvas up. And this is the first one that I did, probably the loosest of the series, but one of the first actually. And most of it was done on location, right there. So
and I see that, you know, it has some of the same palette. Is that something that you're really drawn to, or
yeah, I mix all my colors. Yeah, so I get a palette together first, and then just attack the canvas with what I've mixed up. So yeah, I like to create a palette first. That's what one of my methods that I use for most of my paintings actually. So nothing comes right out of the tube. It's just there's a lot of palette work, and then I'll hit it with like a loose sketch and then fill it in as, you know, accordingly, from looking and from kind of, you know, using my imagination. So
that's a pretty exciting challenge though.
yeah, it's fun. I like it.
Nice. Well, I'm really pleased to have you have a piece on the wall.
Yeah, I'm glad to. It's been a lot of fun, and I enjoyed the opening. It was great.
Yeah, it was
a
good.
Wonderful show.
Yeah, thanks for coming.
Yeah.
All right, great. Thanks, Brendan. I hope to see you some more.
Yeah, you will.
Yeah, and come by whenever.
Okay.
All right. Next, we have a piece by Arabella Colton. Arabella is a artist here in Saugerties as well. This is called The Mill in February, Saugerties, New York. The mill is it's a converted factory. They converted it into a lot of artist lofts. A lot of artists live over in the mill. It's right along the Esopus Creek here. I have two pieces by Ellen Crimmins. This is called Eventide. Ellen, are you here? No, I don't think so. Okay. Ellen lives in Salt Point, New York. This is oil. It's 21.5 by 27.5. And the second piece is called Bermuda, which is obviously inspired by Bermuda. This is oil as well. Always a pleasure to have Shelley Davis's work here at the gallery. This is called Rainforest. Talk about a strong color palette. Shelley had a lot of fun with this one, and I'm always thrilled to see something new by Shelley. She takes a lot of the themes that I do and really looks at it as a way to challenge herself to create something new. So I'm pleased to have Rainforest here. 2 photographs by Nancy DeFlon, who actually lives in, I think she lives at the mill. This is a really beautiful sunset photograph. It's called Beloved Sunrise. Nancy works mostly with digital. And then the second piece is called Let's Play Dress Up. And I think this is a really beautiful homage to fall. I like the way that, you know, Nancy sometimes she uses apps on occasion to give it a little bit of a painterly quality. And this certainly does show that. Susan Feldman, this is a really, really beautiful piece. This is called The Sky Shows Off, which again, it's a 3-dimensional work that you really need to see in person to really see the beauty of it. I don't know if you can see it, but there's some real great dimensions to it. It's a bit of a collage piece. Susan lives in Los Angeles. That's the, you know, occasionally, if the work is really, really good, I'll bring in an artist from outside the New York Hudson Valley area. And I'm really pleased to have this piece. It's called The Sky Shows Off. Mira Fink.
Hello.
Always a pleasure to have a piece by Mira here. And this is such a this is our area. And you know, this is a beautiful piece of fall in the Hudson Valley. I'm really, really pleased to have it. And it's over on Mohonk, isn't it?
Yeah, that's the Mohonk Preserve.
Okay.
Make it a little smaller so we could see the whole thing. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, switches around. But yeah, this is the Mohonk Preserve. This is a really neat trail. That's a new one for me over the last couple of years. They've just built it. And you go up from the parking lot across from Split Rock, and you have to climb quite a bit to get up to this view. It's a lot of walking. So I've never been able to drag my easel all the way up there, but I try to get up there the last 2 falls, because once you see this in the full color of fall, it just blows you away. And this particular day, it happened to be kind of foggy. And when you have a gray day, the colors get even brighter. And to me, painting is about color and light, and about basically the essence of nature. You know, it's the beauty of nature to me. So I'm always looking for something that will be beautiful, that will have some color, that will have some energy and excitement, make me want to paint it, and also works as a painting compositionally. So I do move things around. Those rocks in the forefront, I needed to shift quite a bit, somewhat invent, in order to create a little bit of white in the foreground to help your eye go from one section to another. And
Was this done plein air?
no, it wasn't. Like I said, it's too far for me to bring my easel all the way up there. So I work from photos and sketches when I can't work from plein air.
Okay.
But they're usually from my own photos. I'm usually doing something from a place that I've been and have gotten excited by actually seeing. Occasionally, like the other piece in this show was from a friend's photograph that I used, and I just saw this photo and immediately asked permission to use the photo to paint, because it was so beautiful to me. Yeah, I can't see quite the whole thing yet. There is it.
Oh.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
I guess you have to go up or down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is called Sunrise with Reservoir and Lavender Clouds. Is this the reservoir?
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, our friends, Morgan and Wendy live, that's actually the view, one of the photos they took from their backyard overlooking the reservoir. And this winter I did a bunch of paintings that were focusing on sunrise and sunset and using a wet on wet watercolor technique, and which is where you make the paper wet and then you let the colors kind of blend together on the wet paper. So the sky is done that way, and probably some of the snow area as well, maybe some of the other parts as well. But there's a series of layering of color. So when you have the wet paper, you can get these very subtle color changes, which is exciting. And the sky was just so beautiful. You don't normally see skies that have that much color in it. So when I do, I get really excited and I want to paint it. And the other thing that made me really want to paint this is sometimes the wind will blow the snow up against a tree so it sticks to one side depending on the wind direction. And every now and then you'll see those trees on the left there, the way the white creates this very graphic kind of dark and light thing with the snow coming against it. And I always love that when I see that out in the winter time. It doesn't happen all the time. It has to be the wind kind of blowing a certain way and making the snow stick to the tree in a certain way. So I really enjoyed painting this. And I actually did a number of sunsets over the winter, and it was really fun to do something in a different palette than I'm used to. It had a lot of really, really bright colors. Usually in the middle of the winter, things are not quite so bright. So it's fun to do some sunsets and sunrises. And I even did some ocean paintings over the winter with wet on wet skies. So that was a lot of fun.
Nice. Well, they're both two, I mean, really stunning pieces that represent the seasons here in the Hudson Valley.
Thank you. Thank you, Rob.
Mira has a number of other pieces on Artsy. Please have a look. She's a wonderful watercolor artist, landscape artist, and other subjects as well.
Thanks.
Mira, a pleasure to have you here. Thanks so much.
You're welcome. Thank you for hosting.
Absolutely, my pleasure. And we'll see you again. Next is a photograph by Jason Foster. Jason is a artist living in Hudson, New York. This is called Barge with Lighthouse, and it's beautifully printed on almost like a gator board.
Come in.
Are you here, Jason? No? Okay.
Right. I was just on TV.
Oh.
Oh,
Loel, I hear you. You got to.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay. I'm going to mute you. All right. Okay. So the next we have a piece by Deborah Friedkin. This is called Red Rock Shaman. And this is a little sculptural piece. It was the head was a plastic figure that she found, and then she sculpted the rest of the body and the rock out of clay, and it's in a little bit of a house. Deborah lives in Sleepy Hollow, and then her husband Jeffrey Friedkin has two pieces in the show. The first is this one is over in Dumbo, and we get a lot of Brooklynites here in Saugerties these days. So lots of people that are coming in are definitely responding to this piece and certainly seeing it as a something very familiar. This is printed on metal. Jeffrey uses, he probably bumps up the contrast a little bit, which really adds a real nice dimension to the work. And then seeing it printed on metal is even better. That was called Crossroads. This second piece is called Downtown. Really pleased to have Andrea Geller here. Andrea is an artist in Paramus, New Jersey, who I've been working with probably since the days of my running a gallery in New Jersey, I think, right? Or did we meet here? I can't remember.
No, we met in Red Bank, correct.
Oh, Red Bank. Yes, that's right. Andrea has two pieces in the show, Pato Lake, and then the second piece is Waterton Lake. Andrea is very drawn to water. She has have a look at my artsy page. There's a whole series of Andrea's work of getting in and out and the ritual of bathing. So yeah, Andrea, welcome, and take it away. Let us know about these two pieces. And
All right, I'd be happy to. Yeah, so the first piece I did, there is a series of 3, and the first one I did was Bow Lake, and that was in the best in show that you had, I think, in December. And then I completed these 2 like right afterwards. So they're all the same size, 11 by 14 on cradled board. And I was more than inspired by my trip to the Canadian Rockies this past summer. So I was just thinking while I was watching the exhibition occur today that I had started a series called Water Meets Land. And this is sort of like a continuation because obviously I'm drawn to the water and the water's color, but it really is a connection to the land or the terrain that is around it. And these lakes are glacier-fed lakes. The first one was Lake Pato. It is located in Banff National Park near the Icefields Parkway in Alberta, Canada. So on our trip, we stopped first at, I believe it was Lake Victoria, and then it was Bow Lake, and then Pato. I believe that was the succession, but every one was more magnificent than the next. And right before we did that lineup, the day before, or day or 2 before, we stayed right on Waterton Lake. And that's on the border between the United States and Montana. So it was just like the tour was very good because it led us from one extraordinary place to the next. And I just want to comment that a lot of discussion about what makes the water blue. And so the blue is created by glacier rock flour that flows into the lake from a nearby glacier. And the rock particles are what give the lake the turquoise color. So it was a challenge to paint. I won't say it was easy, but just creating the space, the depth, and the atmosphere was worth it.
Well, Andrea, tell me a little bit about you're creating the water, because I know there's multiple layers in all of this, and I know you've been working for a long time with just creating water on canvas and panel. So is it can you talk a little briefly about that process and what you found useful?
Sure. Yeah, so I won't say I don't ever figure it out. And I think once I figure it out, it won't be interesting. But right. I do know that it won't occur the first pass, because I do work with oils. And I think the nature of the material, the relationship of color against color is what creates the illusion or the transparency. And since water is transparent and it is reflecting off of everything around it, I don't think you could really, I think transparency is a real huge part of it. And so sometimes I do layer, like in the Waterton Lake, you see the ochres and the siennas of the rocks in the lower right-hand corner. So I know that's going to be underneath the water. So sometimes I will start with that. And then when I lay the colors on top of it, it has a lot to do with pressure. Now, I'm a teacher. I teach in multiple colleges. And one of the things that's hard to talk about or teach is the pressure that you use when you put the brush to the surface. And so if you have color on your brush and you don't want it to mix fully with the color underneath, there is a way to fully load the brush and just let it sweep on top of it. I study a lot of really fantastic water artists, and one of the most I think brilliant water painters is Joaquin Sorolla from Spain. And it's his anniversary this year. I believe there's a bunch of exhibitions happening. But Monet comes to mind. All the Impressionists were studying this. And the success of it has to do with color juxtaposed next to color. And that's why it can't be a formula, because you put one color down, like a purple, and you put a yellow next to it, and then you keep, changing it as you are studying it. You really do have to give it a sense of space when you step back to see if it's actually successful in terms of creating space. So that's why it's always challenging.
Well, I think you may not ever master it, but I think every time you come closer and closer to it. Always a pleasure to have you in my shows. Please have a look on Artsy and have a look at some more of Andrea's work, because they really are beautiful.
Thank you so much, Robert.
Right.
Really enjoyed this.
Being a Pisces, I can certainly relate.
Yes, I hear you. Enjoy the rest of the
I am ready. Thanks. All right. Okay, I've got two pieces by Denise Giardulo. This one is sold. This is called Stillness. It's a quilt with some watercolor painted on. The second piece, I'm sorry. Now I have a piece by Marianne Glass. This is a white house. This is iPhone photography. Marianne uses a number of different apps in creating her work. She also does some classes in using iPhone apps in enhancing your work. But what I like about Marianne's work is that she doesn't go overboard. A lot of times there's that I feel that there's a fine balance between overdoing it with manipulating it digitally. And I think Marianne does a really wonderful job and a nice balance. This is the second piece by Denise Giardulo. No, that's the first piece. Okay. Tom Hackett, two photographs from Tom Hackett. Tom is a artist in Kingston. This is El Moro in San Juan. This is west from El Moro. And then the second piece is called Lower Manhattan. Christine Henninger, good to have you. Welcome from Vermont. You're muted, so you have to unmute yourself. This piece sold. Congratulations to Christine.
That's better.
Yes, perfect. The person that bought this was thrilled because they recognized the view. Yeah, that's one of the things about a lot of these landscape shows, especially the
right.
I think it really brings back wonderful memories for people. So this certainly brought back a memory to the buyer. So congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, actually, I wondered, do we have the same dentist? Because I was actually sitting in the chair at my dentist, and I looked out the window and I was like, wow, that is beautiful. And there are all these little balconies with trees and whatnot, and the gem at the end is right, the Chrysler building. So I snapped a whole bunch of them. And, I may live in the country, but I grew up in New York City and I love New York City. So this is sort of, for me, it's like an homage to, to the city.
Do you find there's that your work changes now that you're living out of an urban environment and more in a rural environment?
No, no. I started doing photography when I moved back to Manhattan from Vermont, but no, I'm more still, my thing is sort of capturing the beauty of the moment. Like I'll just look at something and like, there it is, and it's beautiful. But it's not always beautiful and it's not always right, but things will click. And I find that's more like where I come from, no matter like what environment I'm in.
Sure. It's always great when that you make that sort of instant connection and you know exactly what you want. One of the things that I do, if I'm walking around with friends, we'll be walking all of a sudden I'll stop and they'll continue on and they're like, well, what do you stop for? But it's always great to walk around with that eye on, which
because you saw something that somebody else didn't or passed right by. So
well, congratulations.
Well, I'm so pleased. Thank you.
It's a wonderful piece.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks so much, Christine. Good to see you.
Good to see you, Robert.
Hi, Nancy. Okay. Okay. Sure. Just give me a few minutes. You got it. Okay. I have two pieces by the Holt. Barbara Holt is a wonderful abstract piece called The Lee Shore. And then the second piece is by David Holt. This is called The Clearing, and this is acrylic on canvas. Both Barbara and David live in New Paltz. Sue Horowitz, this is Vernable Pool. This is a monotype oil. Really, really stunning piece. As I said, I wanted to bring in something a little different into the show. And, this is certainly not your traditional landscape or seascape, but it definitely brings me over to, I guess it's the viewer's choice, landscape, seascape. It has those elements for sure. Small, really, really quaint little piece by Linda Ippolito, who lives in Montclair, New Jersey. She's a wonderful encaustic artist as well, but this is oil on paper. It's a tiny little piece and it's called Small Wonder. It's 5 by 7. All right, really, two pieces by Annette Jarrett. This is another abstract piece called Somber Landing. Annette lives in Port Ewing. And then the second piece is called Rolling Acres, another really wonderful abstract as well. I am going to bring up Ann Leith now, who has joined me in the gallery. Hi, Ann.
Hey, guys. Hi, everybody.
I'm going to hear.
So I just wanted to echo a little bit what Andrea said and also compliment Sue Horowitz on that beautiful little black and white. This painting is an oil on panel, 24 by 24. And it was painted plein air. Of course, it's one of those ones where after you have it a year or two, I did a pair of them, a place that I know very well. And then, you kind of noodle with them after a while and the studio, and they start to take on another dynamic element. But this is essentially a plein air painting. So there you have it. It's
one of two, right?
One of two.
There's a
yes.
second, yeah.
Yes.
The second
And it's
piece,
a place I know very, very well for many, many years. So it's almost, it's like, it's kind of home base.
the second piece is,
Yeah, there it is.
yeah, beautiful. I really like the lake right here.
Yeah, thank you. So anyway, so I do a lot of work that isn't necessarily plein air, a lot of sort of fantasy land, especially since COVID was a little bit Alice in Wonderland-y through the looking glass. So, working with metallics, but these are very straightforward. Thank you.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Give yourself a little more credit. They're not that straightforward.
Well, they are what they are,
Absolutely. Well,
And the
they are
shading's
stunning. They're
brilliant,
beautiful.
by the way, guys. Come and see it if you can.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Thanks. All right. Thanks, Ann. Always a pleasure. And happy birthday.
Oh, thank you. I'll see you later.
All right. Piece by Patricia Kelly. Patricia lives over in Stone Ridge. Hold on. Kingston. This is called September Day. It's a wonderful abstract pastel piece. Martha, you're here?
I am here.
Thought so. Good to have you. Now I got to find.
Thank you. Thank you for doing this. It's a great opportunity.
Absolutely. It's a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you.
Where are you?
Yeah.
Oh, here you are. All right, let me pull you up. Martha has two pieces. This is At Day's End, and then the second one is called Green Sky. So take it away. Martha. Welcome.
Sure. Well, this piece, I started with a reference photo, but I really wanted to work more loosely. So I changed the sky and the tonality of it. I am really drawn to and mesmerized by those transitional times of days where the sun is still insinuating its effects, but it's not obvious. And there's a sense that, day is waning and night is coming on. And every time, every moment changes the quality of the light and the colors around it. So I'm drawn to those transitional times of day. And like I say, this one, I really challenge myself to work more loosely than I usually do because I want to get less figurative and a little bit more expressive. I really accentuated the vertical quality of the tree line and in the reflection as well to help the viewer's eye move between the water and the sky and back and forth again, because I feel like those two elements inform each other really strongly. So I like the way that you can feel like the sun is like sharp, and so I'm pleased with this. This came across. This is acrylic.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. And the second piece.
Yes. So I grew up in the Midwest, and when the sky is actually this color at times, and something is looming, and I've always been just grabbed by that ominous sort of, impending change in the air. And so I really wanted to capture that in this piece. The landscape is a bit more from a picture I took actually from the Jemez Mountains in New Mexico. But I brought together where I was born and where I lived for many years. I lived in Santa Fe for many years to really try and bring forth this tense moment. I started with acrylic, which I'm starting to do more frequently. Start with acrylic to block in the larger shapes, and then I finish with oil to soften and blend and bring a different kind of luminosity to it. So I'm really pleased. This came out of a workshop with Christy Scheel up at the Woodstock School, like you say, Robert. It's an amazing place with amazing
artists too.
Oh my gosh, it's just and such generous teachers. So I really appreciate how I'm just trying to get out of my own way, basically, and keep evolving. So thank you for the opportunity.
This is where it's taking you. Keep going.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Really wonderful. Thank you so much, Martha. I'm glad you joined us.
Thank you. Me too.
I'll see you soon. Pam Krimsky. Pam, I saw you here. You're on mute. You want to join? Okay.
I'm unmuted.
All right. Excellent. Welcome.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
This is again another sort of non-traditional piece that I wanted to bring in. This piece has a lot of dimension. It's on cardboard. Here, let me bring it over. Let me bring you over to it so you can see a little bit. Get myself here.
This is a better reproduction than what I have. Mine's glary.
Yeah, so you can. It's really a really wonderful piece. Okay, great. So tell us about it.
So I began to grow a little bit bored with painting for a while, and I started to do work with cardboard, where I was doing a drawing that was, one second. The drawing was very intentionally controlled by positive and negative shapes, and they're from imagination. It's a series. This is the first of the smaller ones. And in the series, what I'm doing is concentrating on drawing, really. And then I'm cutting out areas which I choose. And so it's really more about drawing than painting. But but I enjoy working with paint on them. And this is just one example. It's small. I've worked, well, yeah. May I show another?
Go ahead.
Okay. So I don't know, well, I don't know what you'll see.
Yeah, we can see it. Yeah.
Okay.
Wonderful.
So
I like this direction you're going in. I mean, this is, you know, this, it looks like something that you would have painted on canvas, but it's really wonderful to see it 3-dimension like this.
well, that's the purpose of the cardboard. And
Right.
I'm really enjoying drawing. It's been a long time that I've been painting and not drawing so much. So I'm going back and forth.
Well, welcome. I'm really pleased to have it, and I look forward to seeing more from the series.
Thank you very, very much, Robert. Thanks for showing it, because
Thank
I'm
you.
happy it's being shown.
Thank you. Always a pleasure, Pam.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to go back real quick to Nancy DeFlon, who has joined us here at the gallery. Hold on, Nancy. Oh, sorry, guys. Nancy had the 2 photographs. One of them was the sunrise. Nancy, you want to start talking with us about your work? I've had many pieces of Nancy's in the gallery before. Actually, we just sold one of her works from the last show about Socrates. And let's pull you up here. So yeah, go ahead.
Well, you've had many of my pieces before.
Yes,
but this is
absolutely.
the first time I have ever been near, right next to a naked man. This does not happen much in my life. So
Well,
thank you, Robert. I appreciate it.
Again, Nancy, it's all about placement, and it's just, you know, I mean, it just seemed so appropriate with, and actually the reason why I placed it was because I thought it looked really wonderful above the shaman piece, you know, having a spiritual element to this,
Yeah.
and then having the sun.
Well,
So yeah, tell us about the sunrise
that's
photo.
what that's all about.
Yeah, but it actually, now that you mentioned it, it goes really well with the nude too.
Maybe somebody will buy them both together. But
That would be great.
this is my favorite place on earth. I have photographed sunrises here thousands of times before. I think we've had at least 1 or 2 of them in the show. But this is the first time ever this kind of composition and this kind of lighting. You know, I usually get when the sun is coming right up and you get these nice starbursts and there are, you know, rocks right in front of me.
Right.
But this is more like a more traditional composition. And I thought, you know, the lighting isn't too good. Yeah, no, it's not great. And I thought, well, maybe I could do something with it.
Mhm.
And through the magic of post-processing and all my
Right.
little things, you know, I tried it and I said, this is going to work. This is going to work. And then, well, I think it did. I also put the last filter that I put on it actually is a very painterly one. It doesn't necessarily come out of that.
Right, well,
It really
actually,
does look as if it's
the other one that we have, Let's Play Dress Up.
Yeah.
Which I'll pull up, has you know, that's got a real painterly quality to it. Which is this one here. Yeah, it's almost, you know, I mean, it's fall, but it's you know, it's a little different than what we normally see. So
I think what happened with that was that I had been reading some essays by Guy Tal, who's a very famous photographer working now, and a very great essayist as well. And he had taken a lot of phenomenal writings from other people. And somebody was writing, why should people expect to see everything on a painting or a photograph in the color that it actually is in
right.
reality, you know? And that spoke to me. I mean, you know, a lot of things I'm not necessarily going to go with just because somebody wrote it, but I thought, no, this is definitely something I can work with. And this is probably from one of my favorite places, you know, west of Woodstock here in a forest and some woods. And it was a pretty decent composition. And I just work with, again, with some of my filters.
I really like how you brought the blue into it. And I especially like the fact that it was inspired by writing. As you know, I'm, you know, when we drawn to the, you know, when one art inspires another. Wonderful. Well, thanks, Nancy. I'm glad you came by.
Thanks, Robert, yeah.
Always a pleasure. And as I said, there's a lot of Nancy's work up on Artsy throughout You know, she's been in a number of shows throughout the years here at Getting. Yeah.
This is honestly one of the best, I say this sometimes, but you know, Robert surpasses himself. One of the absolutely best shows I've ever seen.
Oh, thank
So
you.
please
Thanks.
come in and see it in person.
I so appreciate that, Nancy. Thank you. I'm glad you came in. All right. I'm running a little behind, so I'm so sorry. I just, you know, I try to plan these things out and schedule them out, but sometimes I get a little more excited than I should. Always want to ask a lot of questions and find out a little bit more. All right, John Krupa. This is called Winter Forest, which is, again, another really wonderful color palette and a non-traditional landscape. John's piece is, I believe this is acrylic as well. Yeah, this is acrylic. We saw Anne. Speaking of nudes, Richard Levy. Richard is an artist here in Saugerties. Or is he in Malden? No, he's in Saugerties. Richard has been taking classes at the Woodstock School of Art. And I've been really, really excited to see his progress, and just, you know, he posts a lot on Instagram and Facebook. And it's always really wonderful to see what he's doing next. It's working. Okay. The second piece is called On the Terrace, and these were both taken obviously during his vacation. Two photographs by Maureen Lohan Brennan. This is called Minnewaska Trails. And I really like the dream qualities to both of these. And then the second one is called Quarry Reflections. These are digital as well. But you can really, I mean, the way that she brought the texture into it, it's really wonderful. Okay. All right. You're going to see my big face for a moment here until I bring up the next screen. Here we go. Let me share this with you. Linda, are you here? Linda Lynton?
Just unmuted myself.
Oh, great. I thought I saw you.
Yeah.
Linda, welcome from Vermont. Linda Reese is an artist in Woodstock that recently moved to Vermont. Oh, here you are.
Okay.
And I'm assuming you're calling us from Vermont.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm sitting here in the log cabin.
Great. I see the wood behind you. I'm looking forward to come visit one of these days.
I know. Yeah.
This is a really wonderful piece.
Both paintings, in fact, they're Hudson Valley. They're both the Shawanagan. Well, there's a ridge of limestone hills. The Shawanagans are in New Falls, and they go down. The Palisades are at the southern end. And this one is in the Shawanagans, and the other one is in the ridge of mountains near Cold Spring, which is sort of between the Palisades and the Shawanagans. And this is Bear Mountain, which actually is on the other side of the river to where West Point is. I think Cold Spring is around there. I like to paint inaccessible places and wilderness. And with both of them, it struck me when I was out there how, it's pretty inhospitable up there, because there are these big slabs of rock. So any life has to basically exist in the crevices between the rocks. And this one's called At the Top. And the other one, which is in the Shawanagans. And interesting, when you get up high, you get all these miniature juniper trees and other pine trees. And they're all miniature. They're very tiny. It's like little bonsais coming up between the rocks. Yeah. So I called this one Survivor, the fact that he can survive up there.
And you had mentioned going to inaccessible places. One of the things I wanted to mention is that Linda did a project where she explored the Saltkill River for about a year and, just went and met a lot of people who sort of knew the Saltkill. You got access to a number of different areas that the general public couldn't, and created a whole series of paintings, which is on Artsy. It's called Saltkill River.
River, yeah.
Some really gorgeous pieces. And I'm really pleased to have these as well. This reminds me a little bit of the Cadillac Mountains over in Maine.
Oh, right, yeah,
That's where my mind went.
yeah.
Thanks, Linda.
Thank you.
See you soon.
Yeah, see you soon. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
As I said, we're running a little behind. So if there are any artists that have joined us and need to leave and would like to, talk, please message me and I'll get you on soon. This is a piece, wonderful piece by Molly McAman. Molly's a artist over in Malden, which is a hamlet in Saugerties. Both of the pieces are acrylic on collage. Or acrylic and collage. Always pleased to have a piece by Marjorie Maggot here. This is called Japanese Gardens. Marjorie has a real whimsical quality to her work that, I always say this, but it's true. Every time I look at her work, I like to smile. And this is no exception. This again brings me back to the Japanese tea gardens in San Francisco. Two pieces by Kate Masters. This is called Route 32 Catskill. Kate's a wonderful landscape artist here in Saugerties. And this one is called View from Olana. These are both very local landscapes, as a lot of the pieces in the show are. What we have next, I'm sorry. I usually have these open, but for some reason I didn't have this one open. Ellen McKay. Ellen McKay is an artist in Kingston, New York. She's this is a mixed media piece. Used to do some workshops over with the gallery with Ellen, who's a wonderful teacher and really helps artists loosen up and sort of discover their abstract selves. This is called Light of Death. Two pieces by Hadass Milad. This is a new artist to the gallery. I was really drawn to this. It's a series of shadows. It's a little off, as I am, and my taste is, and I thought that some people would respond to this favorably, like I did too, and I was I was not wrong there. So this is called Hazy. And then the second piece is a little bit of an abstract piece. It's a watercolor. This is called Faded. Some really beautiful color palettes in this one. Couple pieces from Marissa Merrigan. Marissa is a artist in Nutley, New Jersey, who I've known probably my whole life. And I've always wanted her to show me some of her work. She finally did. These are some small watercolor pieces. This one is called First Street, Newark. It's all very local in New Jersey, although this one's not. This is called Alcante. And then this third piece is called Alcante Cliffs. These are all watercolors. We've got East Rutherford, New Jersey. And I think that's it. But I thought they fit perfectly in the landscape show, and I'm really, really pleased to have the opportunity to exhibit some of Marissa's work. I'm always pleased to exhibit Wilma Miller's work. Wilma's an artist here in the Hudson Valley. Wilma lives in Woodstock. This is called Ledges. It's acrylic on canvas. The second piece is called Crashing, and they both obviously fall into the Seascapes category. Another new artist for the gallery, Sylvia Mueller, lives in Kingston, New York. This is called The Memory of Water. It's a traditional hand-cut collage. And obviously it's got elements of water here. I thought that was something a little different to add to the show too. Will Nixon. Will, did you want to talk? Are you here? I thought I saw you pop in.
I'm here, yeah. Yes.
Good to see you.
You too, Robert.
I got to say, this is, I have gotten so many compliments on this photograph and so many questions about it. So tell us what we're looking at. When I first saw it, I thought I was in Venice, but I'm not. Oh, I'm sorry. I just muted you. I meant to mute myself. You have to unmute yourself. All right, there you go.
Yeah, this is Uptown Kingston, and you're looking at the reflection on the roof of a car.
Pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Are you drawn to reflections? You want to? Is this something?
I am. I've taken a lot of shots, reflections of the car. I can't remember. I think this is my car, but it doesn't have to be my car. I do think my car is black. And if you look at this scene with your eye, it will never, you'll see its reflection, but somehow the lens sees the reflection, I think, more purely than my eye sees it. Maybe my eye is picking up imperfections on the roof that the lens doesn't see, the camera lens, that's an iPhone. And also, I think there's something about the metallic blackness that maybe darkens the reflection or gives the reflection a certain quality.
Yeah.
So it's not obvious to people that it's a reflection on the roof of a car, but my theory, I don't know that it's true, but my theory is that photographs interest us because there's something about them that's slightly different than what we actually see with our eye. Somehow the camera lens or the lighting, or there's some distortion, wide angle, long lens. So there's something a little bit, we might not even notice it, but the camera has done a little something to the world differently than we see it for ourselves. And so this is, to me, the reflection on the car roof is like that. It just, when I look at the reflections on the car roof with my eye, I don't really see them the way they show through the camera, through the phone.
Do you walk around looking for things like this?
When I'm in the mood, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, I find, like I had said before, I find that myself, where it's, sometimes I'm just looking out for the extraordinary.
Yeah.
This is certainly one of them. This is a photograph I wish I had taken.
Thanks.
Always a pleasure to have Will's work at the gallery. Will's been painting too. He's had two pieces in the last show, Art and Words, which are actually currently hanging up over at Bosco's Mercantile, and they look perfect with Laura's new collection. So if you're in the area, stop on by. If you're not in the area, have a look on artsy.net at the gallery site, and you'll see a lot more of Will's photography, his reflections, and now some of his paintings and his poetry. He's a fantastic poet, master poet.
Thank you.
All right, Will, good to see you.
You too.
See you soon. Thanks again. Oh, there's a second piece by Will too. This is called Troy. Sorry, Will.
That's okay.
This is not a reflection. All right. Two pieces by Sandra Nystrom. Sandra is an abstract artist living in Woodstock. This again is both pieces are something a little non-traditional for landscape, but it's what I wanted to, I wanted to bring a little more of this into the gallery, and they certainly have landscape qualities to them. And she's wonderful with her color palette. It's a piece called Turning Point by Vi Norlander. Vi is an artist here in Socrates who has been, this isn't a really good picture of it, but she's been working with drawing scenes in the village and using pencil and crayon. Two pieces by Julie O'Connor. This is a really gorgeous piece. This is called View from South World Trade Center from Top of the World. It's a what can I say about it? It's I mean, it certainly brings us back to, or me back to, a certain time and place that no longer exists, but it's a really stunning photograph. The second piece is called California Before the Gigafire. Both pieces are just sort of beauty before the tragedy. And this is a really stunning aerial photograph of, I mean, the blues in this are just incredible. And I'm assuming those are mountains in the background. I'm not too sure, but just love it. Two photographs by Richard Penhart. This is called Winter Trees with / magenta strip. The second photograph is called Pond Autumn / Autumn Dome. Really, I really like the foggy quality to this piece. Vicky, you are here. I saw you before.
I'm here.
All right, let me pull you up. Here you are. Welcome. Good to see you.
Good to see you, Robert.
This is, this obviously falls into my Seascape part of the show. Yeah, Vicky, please tell us a little bit about this piece.
Well, like most of my pieces, I am concerned with combining abstraction with realism. It's an oil painting, and it's actually Lake George. It's not a seascape, but this is just looking at the ripples in an early morning on the edge of Lake George. And once I decided I was going to use this photograph, I knew I wanted to bring an abstract element to it. And lately I've been trying to kind of layer an abstraction over a realist painting. So the wavy lines are kind of a direct transcription from a painting by Bridget Riley, one of her paintings called Arrest 2. So what I did was, of course, paint the landscape, and then when it was dry, develop masks to mimic her ripples, and then paint those stripes with kind of a translucent oil paint. And I'm a tremendous fan of Bridget Riley and her work. So this is kind of a tribute to her, and to Lake George. So.
Tell me a little bit about this line right through here. This is one of the things that really drew me to the piece. It just, I something about it that I just find fascinating.
Yeah, so the line is actually in the photograph. It's just a weed actually that was jutting up through the from the water's edge. And it was also in such a way that it was kind of catching the morning sunlight. So the sun was kind of bristling around this hairy plant stalk, which goes right up to kind of the top reflections of sun on the waves. And, for me, it was good to have it there. I mean, I don't alter the painting I don't really eliminate things. If it's there, it's there. But I was glad that it was there. And there's a few other pieces of weed down there below near the rocks. This was, it was just in a situation where the abstraction and the realist, the photograph, just really spoke to one another, and I was really happy to be able to put them together.
I'm glad it's included in there because it adds a really nice element to the piece.
It's a good color piece too. Yeah, it's a good counterpoint to all the blue.
Absolutely. Yeah. Wonderful. Well, thanks for being here, Vicky, and for exhibiting with the gallery.
Oh, thanks for the opportunity, Robert.
Absolutely. Okay, two pieces by Susan Phillips. This is Crosby Street, New York City. Another reflection, and I really like how the manhole just sort of dissolves right into the reflection of the building. Adds a real nice dimension to it. And then the second piece is Houston Street, and this is a reflection also in a puddle. I'm really, really drawn to reflections, as you can tell. Marianne Plass, 2 pieces by Marianne. This is called Tectonic Plate. It's mixed medium. There's some gold leaf in it. And then the second piece is called Quagmire. This is a obviously an abstract piece that has definitely reflects landscapes. Geraldine Popko. Geraldine's a oil artist. I believe this is oil. Hold on, let me just double check. Yes, this is oil. Geraldine lives in Woodstock. It was the night of Santiago. Few de Noche de Santiago. That's the translation of it. And this is oil. It's 12 by 16. Second piece by Geraldine is called Early Morning on the Mountain. This is oil as well. This is 16 by 20. It's always a pleasure to have work by Elaine Power. This is, again, a non-traditional landscape piece. Elaine lives in Woodstock, New York. It's mixed media. It's torn and painted canvas. There is melted beeswax, Conte crayon, and it's mounted on aluminum. It's called A River Runs Through It. Now, I wouldn't necessarily think that this was a landscape piece without the title of having river in it. Who's next? Elaine. No, yes. Elaine Ralston. Is that Elaine? Okay. The first piece by Elaine is, if I can find it. Here we go. Coming Storm. Elaine is a pastel artist living in Olive Bridge. Elaine also runs the does a lot of the organizing and curating at the Olive Bridge library. They have a wonderful exhibition space there. So please go visit them. This is another piece by Elaine called Changing Moods. Oh, here's the Changing Moods. Okay. I'm going to switch over to, hold on, let me stop sharing this. Okay, and I'm going to bring you and show you, I don't have them online, but there's 2 pieces by Rebecca Ray. Rebecca's an artist I met recently in town here in Saugerties. This is called Ice Storm. It's a really, really wonderful ceramic glazed sculpture. Really just beautiful. And it goes lovely with Sylvia's piece here. I don't know if you can see on the top, but there's a little tiny pinhole. And then the second piece is a real beautiful ceramic work. Let's get some light here. Okay. Also by Rebecca, there's some, as you can see, there's some string. It's mixed media, and the string is threaded right through the ceramic. This is called The Stars Are Always There as Dreams Fly. And if you had been in Saugerties at all last month during the Art and Word show, Rebecca's painting was hanging in the window. It was a unstretched canvas, which had elements of sort of like a bit of a see-through quality to it. So on each side, there was a different painting. And I'm happy to say that that piece sold. Okay, let me go back to sharing the work. Tad Richards is a artist living in Kingston, originally from Saugerties. Tad's been working a lot with digital drawings. This one is called Aesthetica Carol. And then the second piece is called Bernal Church Square. Both of these, I believe, are inspired by his travels in Mexico. Lisa Samelin, this is a piece called Red Bridge. This is the Red Bridge in Saugerties. And then let me bring you to the other piece of Lisa's, which is a sculptural piece as well. This is called I Get My Wish. It's acrylic and collage on cardboard. I thought it was a really wonderful, something a little different for the show. Definitely landscape, but I really like when folks use, artists especially use recycled materials, and I thought this was a real clever way of presenting the work. Okay, so that's Lisa. Sorry for all the back and forth. Okay. Let's share that screen again. Okay. Jesse.
Hi.
Good to see you. I thought I saw you pop in.
Yeah,
This is another piece that has gotten a lot of interest in the show. A lot of people are really responding to it. Jesse's a wonderful abstract artist. I have quite a few of Jesse's works on Artsy from previous shows, but this one's a little different, and it's from your town City Country series. Is that right?
Right.
Yes. Please, Jesse, tell us about this work.
Okay. Well, it's part digital photo mounted on, actually not mounted, it's transferred onto a wood panel. Something I did on my computer. I do digital illustration sometimes for my work. And I just had this notion of how different it is to live in the city versus the country, how, you know, you can live in a high rise, but really not be connected to nature. So I thought, wouldn't it be fun to play on that? I was planning on moving up here to Greene County, and I thought, wow, this is a theme that's close to my heart, because I don't know what to expect living in a more rural area. I really came from a more urban. So I just played off of that. Sometimes you're aware of things that are coming in your life and you just kind of get ideas. I used a palette knife to, once I had the image transferred onto wood using a craft technique using medium, Liquitex medium. And one of the advantages is that you can take the image, since I did it on the computer, I can reverse it. I can do black and white. I can invert it so that the blacks are white, the whites are black. It's real simple. The concept was there in my head. I took a tree landscape and a city landscape, very little retouching. I don't even think I took these photos. I think they were retouched. I have a stock source that I use where I buy the rights, and I use them in illustration, so it's all legal. It's just sometimes I use it to make art as well. So really, I don't know what else there is to say. It was a concept I had about city and country, and it was a technique I've been using, a craft technique where I use regular prints and transfer them to wood, and then I painted on top of it. The black and white just came about. The technique could also be used for color, but I was using stark black and white just for the effect.
How many are in the series?
Wow.
Okay.
A lot.
Is it an ongoing series or something you continue to work on?
Well, it evolved into just painting. I decided the technique was getting too photographic. I wanted to branch out into abstract painting. So yeah, I wouldn't say there's 100, but there's a good amount of working this way with the transfer, a couple of years worth of stuff. Okay. And some color, some black and white, but I mean, you've seen the work of Rauschenberg, right?
Yeah.
Where he combines silk screen colored images and black and white images, then he paints on top. This is the kind of thing I was interested in, and I didn't know how to. Someone introduced me to the technique where you could get this kind of a poor man's silk screen by using this technique. Silk screen requires a lot of equipment and stuff, so this is a way to get the effect without having to use all the, all the technical equipment for silk screen. But it has the same effect. Yeah,
Yeah, it's really effective. Yeah, yeah. Again, I thought it fit perfectly in the theme with landscape and cityscape. It's a little of both. As I mentioned, there's quite a few of Jesse's works, which are very different than this. This is something that's very different from what I know of your work. But Jesse's a wonderful abstract artist and has a great way to color. Jesse, always a pleasure. Great to see you last weekend.
Thank you. Yeah, you too, Robert. And hello to everyone. I know I see some people here that I spoke with. Nice to see everyone.
All right, I'll see you soon. Thanks again. All right, I want to bring up, where's Jill? Are you up here, Jill? Hold on. Or have I not gotten to it yet? I'm sorry. Here we go. Okay. Chris Subert. Chris, this is a new artist for the gallery. It's a really wonderful sort of traditional landscape. This is called Waterscape Vermont. It's watercolor. It's 16 by 10, and Chris lives in High Falls. Stephen Schatz. I've had a few of his pieces in past shows. This is called Tempio della Concordia, and this piece sold. There are other copies available if anyone wants, but this is a photograph. Two pieces from Daniel Shorstein. Daniel lives, I believe it's here in Saugerties, a new artist to the area, to the gallery. This one is called Spring Freshness. Is Oil on Board, and the second piece is called Lupine. This is Oil on Board as well. Couple pieces from Amy Silvercleat. This is called Heavy Sky. It is a lithograph. This piece did sell. And then the second piece is called Ridge Path Winter. Really stunning black and whites. Oh, and I'm doing a black and white show coming up. So there's a call for art out for black and white, all different ways that artists are using the absence of color. So it can only be black and white. I'll take shades of gray, but no color. These would fit perfectly. John T. Smith is a photographer here in Saugerties who I've had a few of his pieces, I think one other time in our shows. The last piece that he had sold at the gallery. This is called the Zugspitz. It's photography. And I'm probably pronouncing that wrong. The second piece is called Omaha Beach, and I thought it was just a really stunning beachscape, and I really like the browns in the beach there on the sand. Sarah Smith is a new to the gallery. Sarah lives in New Jersey. I was really happy to meet her when she delivered the piece. It's a little small piece, and again, this is something that I really would love to bring into the gallery. It's something non-traditional, but obviously there you got the landscape. And Lenore, are you here, Lenore? I thought I saw you come in. Really happy to have these.
Thank you.
Wow, oh, here you are. Great. Let me bring you up. Lenore has two pieces in the show. Sculptural pieces. The first was it's called Rose Gold Verta Sculpture, and then the second is Gold and Silver Verta Sculpture. So yeah, tell us about these. This is all recycled material, correct?
Yeah, so I've been very attracted to caps and lids that I see on the streets of New York City. Sorry. And I just kept imagining them stacked. I just saw them stacked, especially these arched architectural shapes, which are either Tropicana juice or a iced tea. Those especially, yeah, I was attracted to. And I knew that if I highlighted them with metallic paint, it would really pop. And I just kept seeing them stacked in my mind. So then I figured out how to stack them. I just put them on a threaded steel screw and stack them up and then paint them.
They've got a real Art Deco quality to them that
Yeah.
I like a lot. Yeah. Yeah. Really, 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 really stunning. Are there, have you continued on with the series?
Yeah, I'm doing neon now.
Oh, wow. Nice.
Big ones.
Oh, wow.
I feel like, and these are whole bottles. This is like a whole bottle in here,
Wow.
whole protein bottle.
Love it.
So these are really big. So I'm just experimenting with color.
Yeah. Nice. Do you usually use recycled materials in your work?
Yes,
Okay.
that's what I'm concentrating on. It helps me focus.
Mhm.
And there's so much stuff in New York City.
Oh, there's stuff everywhere, especially. Yeah. Well, I'm really pleased to have these. This is a really great way to reuse materials and sort of collect back from the earth and turn it into art.
Yeah, thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you, Lenore. I'm really pleased to have you. It was a pleasure meeting you, and hope to see some more of your work.
Sure. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Two pieces by Karen St. Pierre. This one is called Olivia Alba. Again, another untraditional landscape or non-traditional landscape. This piece is pastel. It's a smaller piece, 11 by 14. That's the frame size. But in both of these works, the second one is called Olivia Pomerigio. Two completely different color palettes, but especially in this one here, I really like the way that she brought those purples in, something a little bit unexpected. Both of them are pastel, as I said. Always a pleasure to have Margaret Still's work here in Saugerties at the gallery. Margaret just is having fun, and you can tell. I mean, she's inspired by I would think Hopper, but she's got she travels around the country and takes these photographs. This one happens to be in Kingston, so it's very local. But there's a real very something very clean and simple about Margaret's work that I'm so drawn to. So it's always a pleasure to have Margaret's work here in the gallery. Two pieces by Cindy Sumerano. Cindy's had a number of works in the gallery. Cindy lives in Hurley. It's from a series, Variation on a Mountain Stream 2. This is tempera and pastel on paper. And then the second is Variation on a Mountain. This is the first one. Again, two different, very color palettes, but sort of playing with the same theme, different variations. There's quite a few of Cindy's work on the gallery site as well. Cindy's got a little bit of a dark humorous side to her, which you really can't see in these pieces. But please have a look at some of her other work. Diane Talon. Diane, are you here? You want to join us? I thought I saw you come in. You're welcome to talk about your work. I'm so pleased to have Diane at the gallery. I met Diane and her husband Dean through a mutual artist friend, and this piece just brings me right back to New York back in the day. This is I'm gonna come over and show you this in person. Because a lot of times it just, sometimes it doesn't do it justice. It's a diptych. It is called the Cosmopolitan Hotel, and it's right on the corner of West Broadway and Chambers. I don't think it's there anymore, but it certainly, it certainly brings me back. And there goes your city noise to accompany the work. The piece is acrylic, I believe. Hi, Alex, how are you? Diane, did you want to join us and talk about the piece? That's okay, if you don't. All right. or let me bring back the screen again. The second piece I have by Diane is another cityscape. This is called Night Workers. This is acrylic on paper. And it is a smaller piece. This one is 16 by 12. Two pieces by Camille Warmington, I'm sorry. This is a really beautiful piece. It is a it's a fernscape, and it's acrylic on cradled clay panel. Camille lives in Rhinebeck, and if you just, just really the details in this are just stunning when you really come in close and look at it. I mean, first it looks like a photograph, but it's pretty deceptive. And then the second piece is, where is the second piece? Here we go. The second piece is called Noshima number 12, and I'm probably mispronouncing that as well. But again, you pull in close and you got lots of little goodies there. All right. Talk about bringing me back to a time and place. This one by Anna West brings me right back to 24th Street. Back in the 80s, I used to walk on that street all the time. You got the Chelsea Hotel in the background, El Quijote, which I don't even know if it's there anymore. I know the Chelsea's certainly there. It's not the Chelsea that we knew back then, but neither is New York. But this one brings me right back to that time and place, as I know it does for a lot of people. Second piece by Anna West is called Two Chairs. Not your traditional landscape, but something, like I said, I wanted to bring in something a little bit different. This might be a yardscape, if there is such a thing. Sean Willett. I've been seeing Sean's work for a while. He usually he's been having works over at Inquiring Mind bookstores, and now I think that he's got some pieces over at Mother Earth. Great color palette. This is called Kingston Trolley, and it was really great to meet Sean as well. Kathy Wing. This is called The Pines. Kathy is a artist living here in Saugerties, I believe. I think she's in Saugerties. And I'm always pleased to, every once in a while, Kathy will pop in and show me some of her work. So I'm pleased to have this one as well. And I'm really pleased to have two pieces by Lynn Woods. I know Lynn as a writer. She writes for a lot of the local newspapers. And I'm always happy to discover artists that sort of show me another side of them, as Lynn does. I mean, I know that Lynn's been a painter, but I don't really see her work all that often. So I was really pleased to have this. This is called Chelsea Market, and again brings me right back to Chelsea Market. The second piece is called Looking Toward the High Line. Both of these are oil on paper. All right. So that is our show. That's the landscape show. I'm really pleased to have all of these artists joining us today. Thank you. Thanks for holding in there. We're probably about 45 minutes behind schedule. But I think it was a really interesting discussion. And one of the reasons why we're behind schedule is because I can't keep quiet, and I always have too many questions because I'm curious about everything. Especially the process. Since I'm not an artist myself, I always want to know how people make things and do things. So thank you for educating me on that. Thank you for coming to the gallery or exhibiting in the gallery. As I mentioned, I just opened up an online exclusive on artsy.net. That's ARTSY.net. Look for Emerge Gallery NY. I've been trying to do a lot more online since work has really been selling online. I'm glad to see that sort of since COVID, the way that people purchase artwork is changing. But it's always wonderful to see people come into the gallery, and you're always welcome to come visit and see what we got going on. But I encourage you to have a look at the Artsy site. check out some of the online exclusives. Some of the artists that we were talking to today have additional works online at the gallery. Some of them have shows, individual shows, where you can see a larger collection of their work, some series. As I mentioned, Lynton, Andrea Geller, Marjorie Maggot has a show online. Arabella Colton, who we saw a photograph earlier, has a show of her photographs from the Wall Dog series. There was an artist in the 90s that went around San Francisco painting dogs all over the walls, a little bit of a guerrilla artist. People didn't really know who he was. They still don't know who he is. But Arabella captured those wonderful photographs on traditional black and white film. When I was living there, I went out looking for them, like a lot of other people did. So I was really pleased to see that Arabella had captured those on film. So I have a call out for a black and white, which is going to be my next online show. As I mentioned, the next show at the gallery opens July 15th. It's my solo show of the year by Veronica Lawler, who has been exploring the brickyards in the Hudson Valley, most specifically the one over at Langdon. She's been drawing on site and then abstracting them out with some collage. And it had really pulled together a really beautiful show. So we'll have half of the gallery, the abstracted out works inspired by the brickyards, which she started, by the way, as a she did a residency at Birdcliff here in Woodstock, and that's how she started the series. Was through that. And then the other half of the gallery will be sort of what she did with the deconstruction of the Kosciuszko Bridge. So abstracted those out. So come on and see that. Got a bunch of group shows coming up. And then in the fall, I'm really excited to collaborate with Shout Out Socrates. Last year, we did a real big undertaking of exhibiting some work by Harvey Fite, known for Opus 40, but these were his figurative works, which,
not many people are familiar with. Well, this year we're going to be celebrating another Socrates icon, Linda Mary Montano. We're working with 14 artists in creating new works with the topic of art equals healing. They'll be shown in the gallery along with a brand new piece that Linda's creating specifically for the exhibit. It's a very large crucifix made out of cassette tapes. Right up my alley. And then also keep an eye out. We'll be sending out a call for art for artwork, visual art, some performance art, some video art, all inspired by the life and career of Linda Mary Montano. If you don't know who Linda is, please look her up. She is an astounding artist. She's a performance artist. She's a visual artist. You won't be disappointed. So that's coming up in the fall. I've went on too long. It's 2 hours now. Thanks for everyone joining us. Come again. Come to the gallery. Look online and buy some art, because that's keeping me going and it's keeping all these folks inspired and creating. So thanks again, everyone, and we'll see you next time. Actually, the next one is going to be the virtual tour of the Abstracted show, which is coming up 17th. That's a Saturday this time. I'm not doing it on a Sunday because I got plans the next day. Sorry. So we're going to be doing it on Saturday the 17th. Same time, same bat channel. All right, everyone. See you all. Have a great weekend. Have a great week.
Thanks, Rob.